everybody. Welcome to Sum It Up with the Sumner. I am Katoya and this is
Damon.
And we are back for another amazing episode of Sum It Up with the Sumners, and we are so happy that you are here and rocking and listening with us. Hopefully we can say happy Tuesday because you're here when it drops every Tuesday. But if not, glad you're listening. Thank you. Thank you. What else we got for the people?
Well, we definitely want to say thank you for wherever you're listening. We appreciate it. And we want to say thank you for everybody rocking with us over on Instagram. Check us out on Instagram, IG at Sum It Up Sumners. Just to be clear, that's SUM. Just in case you're like, is it SO? It's SUM.
The Sumners
like
are summing it up.
That's what we're doing right here.
1 + 1 = 2.
Engagement, the fun, the questions, all that jazz goes down over there. So check it out because we've got. I don't know if we're going to tease it. We'll see. But we got something special planned that I think many of you will enjoy coming up on Instagram. But before we do that, we want to shout out somebody with us with an Apple review. This comes from JMG Reed. All right, 5 stars. Thank you. Says an amazing podcast with even ... I don't know why Apple does that. But it says, I love this podcast. It is one of my favorites.
Probably even
Damon.
people.
Maybe. That sounds good. Damon and Katoya always have so many nuggets and they're hilarious. I just love their energy and spirit. You will want to make sure to follow this one for sure. JMG Reed, appreciate you. It's old school friend right there.
That is. Thanks, Jana. Appreciate that.
That's it out here.
Them golden girls, I tell you.
Bridesmaid out here in these streets coming through. Good times for sure. Long time ago. Today we're talking about being content.
Man.
Good, bad, ugly, both a little bit. We'll get into that, what that means, what that looks like, content, as we dive into today's episode. I'll say this. So one thing about the English language that is bad is homophones and homonyms.
Number 20. 250.
The homophone and homonyms, I don't know. I can't speak for any other language. I'm sure they've got their own quirks as well. But English, content, right? Content, same spelling, totally different meanings. But even with content sounding the same, there's still 2 different types of ways to see it. And we're going to get into it today, right? You think about content?
Yeah, I know.
Is that content?
I'm trying to figure out how to play it.
The
contents. To be content.
Come on now.
I'm deep like that.
We ain't even content with the content of our nature. We've come so far to be content.
Wow, it's a lot.
So let's dive in here. Being content in your
you
relationship.
Just said like con and a tent.
That was two different things.
Like the con of a tent, the content.
We could just do an episode just on words.
That's just crazy.
Just on words.
Yeah, I used to teach first grade.
We did.
Try
doing that. I taught English. We taught English overseas. It is not a game. I try to teach people overseas nothing, everything, and something without using any English. I mean, without using any Mandarin as translation.
Yeah, it's really nothing. Something. Anything.
Not the best teaching day.
Oh, hilarious.
Let's get into it. I was talking about being content. Let's start with breaking down the positives of being content, right?
Content. I feel like
in a relationship of content.
We should have done it.
We should have had a definition of content.
If I had my phone.
If we had it, but we don't. You want to go? You got a definition?
Sure.
You hear what you got? What does it mean to be content?
To be content.
To be content means to
be satisfied with what is.
Ooh, did you make that up off the dome?
Mm-hmm.
To be satisfied with what is. All right, so we're talking about in a relationship. That means you're saying, okay, there's positives to be satisfied with what is. Then what would you say would be a positive of being content in a relationship?
Right, so being content, I don't know, it has, content is such a tough word. Like, I know we were playing with the word in general earlier, but like literally like, I feel, I don't know, first of all, it's 2021 and I'm in mid-30s. And I don't know if everybody who's 30 through 40 feels this way, but like content is almost like a curse word a little bit. Like, I'm content. I don't want to be content with nothing. I'm trying to strive. I'm trying to grow. We have that like go get 'em mentality a lot of times. But sometimes content is just what it should be, to be satisfied with what is. It is good. It has progressed. It is better than it was, or, you know, it might be worse, but it's for this moment. there's a moment to be content, and to me, contentment is kind of like sitting in the presence of it. And so in a relationship, that just means like accepting it where it is today, and being in that moment with where your relationship is. I'm gonna leave that.
I think when you kind of went to the philosophical for a moment, I think that was you
I
did. You started with the sociological aspect of it. But no, that is a real aspect that of us just specifically in the Western culture when we talk about being content. It's always been two sides to the coin. It's always been kind of two edges to the sword. Where on one side is like, no, that's not what you want. That's not what you're desiring. You're not trying to be content. You're always pushing and desiring and striving for more. But then on that same token, it's just like, actually, there is peace in contentment, right? There is satisfaction, and you can find joy and security in contentment. And I think that is one area we're going to just kind of start on one side of the coin for this here.
Yeah.
That if you're in a relationship, whether you've been, with someone for 2 days or 47 years, right? There is a sense of joy and security you can have when you're content, when you can look at them across the table and be like, man, I'm good.
My boo.
I'm good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there's something that we don't want to like run away from when we kind of talk about being content. Like, it doesn't have to be settling. It doesn't have to be falling short of a goal. Like, there is a real level of peace and security when you are content.
Yeah, I think that's good. I really like that idea of like contentment and settling, because I feel like that's kind of like sometimes what it feels like. Being content means I'm settling for something that is less than. But oftentimes when I find myself in the hustle or bustle, like trying to be better, trying to grow, like right? Because I mean, I am like that, but like I really don't like to be like that. Like, I actually want to be very content, but reality is I want more, right? But in our relationship, like, it's not settling. A lot of times when I'm overwhelmed from all of that top heavy strive, push, go, we got to do this better. We need to do this better. Ironically, the best place that I find myself coming out of that is to find peace in where I am. You go right, it's like a full circle. Just kind of go right back to having to being content. And it's not settling. It's just accepting what it is, where it is, and then reevaluating what more could look like, right? So what does improving when I think about it in a relationship, I think about areas of improvement. Because contentment says like, all right, I'm content and I'm accepting what is, but maybe you don't want to. So then you have to think about, well, what is that in my relationship that maybe I don't want, or something I want to see more of? For us, I'm still wanting us to have more consistent date nights. But does that mean that I have to find, and that's no shot to you. I just threw out something. I want to make it as personal as possible. But it's like, all right, more consistent date nights right now aren't happening as much as we want to. But can I find value in like Damon coming home and sitting with him and cuddling? Like, that's not settling, but that's finding the contentment and peace in that moment, so that I'm not overwhelmed by the possibility of what did not or what is not happening. So being satisfied with what is, so that you don't have to find discontentment with what is not.
Yeah, when I think about contentment going well, I think about a level of gratitude. Right? I think about there's this level of gratitude where you're just like, this is what it is, like, and you got to say it with the right emphasis. Right, so it doesn't sound negative. Like, this is what it is.
It is,
right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is what it is, right? And so there's this level of gratitude. You got to change it up a bit, And so there's this level of gratitude that, like, everyone has something that they can look left and right that their peers have that they don't.
Just talk about it.
Right, like home ownership. Some of us have been trying. If you've been listening to us, we've kind of threw out some breadcrumbs here. If you've been listening to past episodes, like, that's something that we are striving to attain for the first time ever. As a family, as a couple. That is a goal that we desire. But we definitely would be silly to not think that we couldn't be grateful that we've always had a roof over our head. That our kids have always had a place to sleep. That we've always had a place to call home, even though we may not have been home owners. And so finding that positive spin of where you are, that it is not settling, that even though you're on the journey and you're progressing, there definitely could be a level of gratitude. And so in a relationship, as we're trying to continue to move in careers, and we're trying to move in home ownership, and we're trying to move in whatever relational things we want to get better in, we can still stop and pause and be content, because we've come a long way. Like, I don't know how long you've been with your boo.
I've come through the
you
fire.
took a guy's property? What?
And I've been through the flood.
We can be content so much in how we've grown.
Oh, that's good.
Right, that was good. I think that's the second one. When he's in a colorful sweater. So there's something to be mindful of when you think about that gratitude and content, the positive side of it.
Yeah, right? I just feel very good. Like all of a sudden, I just got washed with peace. Just talking about this, because it's a real thing, man. And I think last time when we first saw this movie, we brought it up to y'all. But the kids chose to watch Soul again.
That's a good one. You gotta watch it if you ain't seen it.
On yesterday. And it was just like, it's about that. It's about like this pursuit. And then you forget to like just be satisfied and content,
right,
and building relationships and just looking back in a moment and being grateful. And I think about that with our spouses, because who you boo, you babe. I think about it because there's always this, the you didn't do, the I wish we had, the we could be better.
Yeah.
But how about we just be grateful for who they are and what they bring to the table, instead of constantly looking at the glass half full or the gaps that are missing, right? And I just, there's a like I said, it's a full circle. You could be frustrated, you could be overwhelmed with where you want to go, but that's restless, that's tension, that's stress, right? But when you come back and you find the peace, the gratitude, and the contentment. I just also started counseling, and I've been telling David how oftentimes I find myself in a loop. Just going around and around. Like the problem is here, and I'm just trying to figure out the problem in a circle. And then my therapist, she just gives me this one escape to like break the loop, to think outside of the problem. And it's just been monumental. And just because she says it to me, it's like extremely, I'm just like jarred. Oh yeah, you're right.
Wow.
I didn't think one ladder step outside of this problem. I've just been stuck here running circles around the same situation. And I feel like in the battle of contentment, sometimes it feels that way too. Like you're just like, you're stuck in the anxiety, the drive, the push. And so you're in here, but you just need to exit out for a second and look at your bae and be like, I love you for who you are. We've come a long way.
Come a long way.
Let's just talk about where we come from.
We've come a long way.
Right.
16 years, 13 years married, if you don't know the stats.
Just saying. I'm done talking.
I think one more thing about content and the positive, when you are content and there's joy, it's like when you do, because you will look left and right at the peers in the comparison, it leads to healthy, right, effects. It leads to celebration, inspiration, motivation, and encouragement. Instead of, when we said it before, instead of when you're looking left and right and you don't have that positive spin and positive outlook on contentment, it leads to bitterness, jealousy, envy, frustration, right? And so when you're content, when you're like, you know what I'm saying? When we like, we know we ain't perfect, but when we good, then you look left and be like, hey, big up, nice, like it. You look over here, all right, we with you, okay, and you're good over here. So that's just another thing that when you have that contentment there, when you're looking at your peers, when you're looking at your friends, it can lead to positive effects instead of leading to, this jaded frustration that, to be honest, is just as humans, not even just in a couple, just as humans, it just eats away at us, and it just takes things down the wrong road. So
yeah, agreed.
We're going to get into the other side of that coin because, there's two sides to it for sure. But we'll be back with a quick sponsor break.
So I don't really love to cook as the primary cook in this family. However, what I do like is to jazz up the meals when I do cook, right? I'm looking for spices, seasonings, dry rubs, and I found a good place. It is artisan dry goods made by beautiful Briny C. So a little bit of everything to spice up, jazz up your meal. That it is a local store right here in Atlanta, but ready to ship out to you all over the world.
Absolutely, and they're legit. I'm gonna be honest with you here. Forbes, The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and Oprah's magazine. And you know Oprah only gonna promote the good stuff. All right, so check them out. Instagram, beautiful Briny C. Make your kitchen better. All right, I'm talking about real good ingredients, urban gardens, local farms. So it's good for your taste buds, good for your body. Check them out, and let's get to the episode. All right, we're back. Make sure you check them out. Beautiful Briny C. All right, we talked a minute ago here about being content in the positive and all the reasons why there are good things to being content. But the reality is sometimes being content has its negatives. Sometimes it has its cons, and that is for sure. I know for myself, and when I am content, sometimes it is because I'm feeling unmotivated, unchallenged, or not fulfilled, right? It's feeling like this ain't it. I don't know, job, health, spiritual, money, relational, just like, what's that, what you doing with that face?
Nothing. I'm trying to think about more ways to take it relational. Because this contentment is something that eats away in every part of our life.
Every part of our life.
And not even eats away, but we wrestle.
It is a constant wrestle of the pros and the grows in all aspects.
And as I'm sorry.
No, get in there.
Well, when I'm thinking about like what that looks like in a relationship, yes. I'm thinking about
we're really talking about discontent.
Yeah, discontentment. That is true.
There it is. Put the prefix on.
Right. Content. Discontent. Mint. Yes. But what I think when I think this is how when you feel that way in all these other areas and just your individual person, you as a person,
boom.
How when you have discontentment in your own realm, your own world, how you bring that back into your relationship. Because I don't think that we're focusing so much in this episode about like, oh, the contentment in your relationship. It's almost like within yourself and how that can come back.
Well, there's a level starting with yourself.
Yeah, that's right? What I'm saying.
Okay.
That's what I'm feeling.
Sure.
As we're kind of discussing that it starts like with like kind of this contentment and discontentment that you could have personally.
Sure.
And then how you can like feed back into that into your relationship.
Yeah. The ramifications of what it does when you walk into that house or when you pull up to their crib or whatever the case may be. There is, we carry. Yes, we all got baggage.
Right.
We all got baggage, and if you come in with a bunch of discontentment in this baggage here, it's just gonna play a part. Right. It's gonna ooze out in certain ways, and then especially if you're discontent in the relationship, if there are issues in the marriage or in your dating life where it's just like, and you just gotta pause.
That's what you look like. That's what you sound like. You ever talk to somebody like that? How you doing? Actually, I'm like that somewhere. And the other day,
in one of the aspects of her life.
And the other day, I was like, I'm gonna stop being this person. I literally told the person that.
You told that person,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm always like, ooh. I need to stop doing it because I'm discontent.
There's many reasons why you could be discontent. There's many reasons why.
But it could be the day. It could be so many factors. But like, and yeah, I don't know. There is when we say like being on the bad side, you're not fulfilled. Something's boring. It's not drawing you in.
You can stop right there for a second. Because we've 16 years, 13 years, just in case you understand.
Don't say them.
But I'm gonna one more time, just in case somebody came in the middle of the episode. So this is a tangent for just a second here because I absolutely mean this. Marriage, like the title specifically, if you are married, the title of marriage is not something that makes things necessarily more exciting and doesn't automatically necessarily make things more mundane and more boring. And many times in society there will be things in society they'll be like, yo, you married, like this or die, like sex life or die. The fun will die. Your free time will die. Your disposable income will die. Like, it just seems like you're moving towards a graveyard when you put a band on your left ring finger.
That's why people be like, I don't want to get married.
Yeah, that's one reason why in society people like, fam, you're going to a cemetery when you put that band on.
Man, forget
right?
the band. You was already headed there if you headed there.
Facts. So what I'm saying is, like, it doesn't matter about the title. I think it matters more about time. If you are with somebody over time,
100%.
Things have, just life will make things more mundane,
monotonous. New responsibilities.
Yes.
Changing career.
And I just want to give that tangent there, just because sometimes people, just culturally, we were like, add a title and it's just going to be different for better or for worse. It's like, no, just time.
You added life.
Be with somebody for 18 months, 3 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's just, so those things will definitely come. We're just like, we doing this, we think,
but legitimately, that's what the podcast is here for, right? To like help you through all of the rest of the time, so that when you look up one day, you're like, oh, we've been working on these things, right? Like, and that's the podcast, sure, but anything that's helping you like strive for a better relationship, right? Like, it's gonna be dull moments in your relationship. There's gonna be moments when you find discontentment, where you're not satisfied.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's gonna need to start with you as your own person.
Come
first.
on now, look at yourself.
Yeah, you say, well, why am I feeling this way? Why is my partner not being able to fulfill this? Or why, or is it me? Right?
What am I doing? Both the positive and the negative.
Right. Oh,
right?
Taking the responsibility for something, right? A lot of times when we're in that stage of discontentment, we can easily point the finger.
Ooh, that's easy.
Yeah.
That finger point is easy when you're discontent.
I ain't content. It's you.
That's it.
You ain't.
We eat the same thing every night.
Yeah, but did you cook?
But did you help plan the meals? Did you help grocery shop?
I asked you to do that.
Did you, you know what I'm saying? This house is always dirty.
Yeah.
Did you pick up the
You
laundry?
pick up your shoes?
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's very easy to point that finger, and we gotta look in that mirror for that for sure. That's really true. I mean, we could have kept going the whole list down.
No,
you brought up the date nights. Well, dang, how many times have I threw out an idea?
If you are not willing to come with that introspective mindset,
that self-awareness,
then it's not gonna go well.
Because it's gonna feel like I'm just blame shifting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And a lot of that is due to you needing your own reevaluation. You need to sit down and journal. You need to go to a therapist. You need to figure out.
Look in the mirror.
Yeah, it takes a lot of dealing with it, because no matter what, you come together with your boo, your beta, create this new oneness.
Yeah.
But you're still two individual people.
Yeah.
Two individual people with their own needs, own desires, own dreams, and you need to be able to come back to the table and feel supported, loved, and connected, so that in these moments of discontentment, and let's say somebody's feeling in a cycle of discontent, whether it's in their own, they need to do some research, right, in their own heart, and see what that's adding to the table. And the other person's like, hey, I'm good, I'm content. How do you love each other in that opposite space? But these are the things that, like, these are the conversations, these are the openness. You gotta have a level of emotional maturity in order to even meet in that space.
Sure.
To meet your person there.
Yeah.
Or your gap is just going to continue to divide.
Yeah. Y'all been talking about on the podcast, I'm speaking in third person, about good and bad. I think before we get out of here, talking about a few ways. You brought up one right now.
You really threw me off at that.
About ways that we can, how do we help fight? How do we help combat the discontentment? I think that one, we gotta, if you know us, you know you can never over communicate. You know that communication is one of the big pillars and foundation of a healthy relationship. That's how we feel about it for sure. And not all the time, but there definitely are going to be times where two partners are not on the same side and not feeling the same way about, you ever have a check-in? You ever have a check-in in your relationship and you ask us a question that you hope they're going to answer the same way? How you feeling about us right now? How you feeling? Let's check in. Let's take a little thermostat.
We need to do better, man. I thought we were doing great.
Oh, shoot.
Dang.
Whoa, okay.
We had one of those like a couple years ago or something.
Yeah.
Like last year too. Last year.
I say a couple
and it was
months.
Damon, and he was like, "Yeah,
Oh,
I think something could be better." And I was like, "Oh, you just over here discontent." I was so upset. I was upset for like a month. What you trying to say?
First off, that was December 2019 to like March 2020. We were in a rut. I remember very well. We came into 2020.
Who wasn't in a rut?
No, we came into.
You talking about that was pre-pandemic?
That was December 9th. 2018 through March 2020.
And I was just looking at him like, oh, so I'm just a sucky person. The way he said
she do be trying to do that.
Nah.
She do be trying to do that.
The way he said it.
I said it with love and kindness and gentleness.
What? I heard, you lame, you suck, you ain't doing a good job, we need to have more sex. I heard, I don't know what he said. That's what I heard.
That sound like what I heard.
I was just, fun. Yeah, I did not like that.
That sound like July.
What was happening in
Vegas.
Oh, yeah, we did.
We've grown.
Well, we traded
spaces.
We
switched spots.
But that's the reality, right?
Listen to me.
It's like...
We switched spots.
I don't even know what that's supposed to mean.
I mean, I felt this... Oh, I ain't no good. I ain't gonna help nobody. I can't do nothing. He don't like music. He don't want to do nothing. What do you mean?
We're boring.
I took you to Vegas.
That's boring. How is Vegas boring?
It's real life,
that was
guys.
Dramatic.
This ain't no game.
But here we are. Today. We can laugh. We can move forward. Have we done something way more exciting since then? No, but maybe we're just in a better space individually. And we're on the same page. We're trying to make strides. And that's the point of contentment, y'all. Like, oh, yes, we had these blow-ups, coming here, and then July and Vegas. I don't know why. I still don't know why we went to Vegas. It's not our jam, guys. But we tried.
We live and we learn.
And David really thought we were going to, I don't know who he thought we were going to be in Vegas. Anyway.
I have nothing to say about Vegas.
We never talked about it. Here's us talking about our Vegas.
Right now in front of you. Okay?
I just remember being like, what happened to the money? And anyway. That's okay. All that to say. I forgot now.
No, what you were saying was that we've progressed and we're moving on a journey.
We are.
It is ever evolving. And I think you just said something a second ago, we could assume that I think we are potentially more content individually, and it helps us collectively. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like if both you and your partner, you and your SO are more healthy mentally, emotionally, and when you come together, oh, y'all a power team. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Y'all we tight like rice. And I think we've been moving in that direction after Vegas, and so
I think
which is encouraging.
Yeah. And it's important for us to say, we can be content with the progression that we are headed towards, even though have we met our ultimate goal? No. Do I have a date for that goal? No. But do we make steps? Yes. So take the baby steps toward contentment, toward progress as big wins and not as a loss. When you look at it as a whole, it can look like a loss because you're not where you want to be. And that's discontentment. But when you look at your progress in your relationship or in yourself personally through small steps, they are big wins.
For sure. I found this was pretty interesting before we get out of here. I wanted to read this really quick. I think it ties into what we've been talking about today. It said, happiness and contentment are not created equal. You can be content in a relationship but not happy. Interesting. You can find a job that is materially rewarding without being internally fulfilling. True happiness comes when we find balance in these things. We need to feel as though the work and relationships we contribute to the world are worthwhile. We don't have enough time to unpack all of that.
Who said that? Why you give them that credit?
I couldn't find it. It was a good quote. Shout out to you. Shout out to you, big dog. Hey, get your credit. If that's you, get your credit. But I thought it was just interesting for a lot of reasons. I don't think so. One reason is that Like you can have worthwhileness. That's a word. You can have worthwhileness in the little things. And I think when kind of wrapping this up here, like the level of contentment in the day in and day out. Like life, I had a kid after he was like, "This ain't fun." I was like, "Big dog, I'm gonna be honest with you. You're in fifth, sixth grade. A lot of life is not fun."
I tell her, but already, she's just fine.
But when you can find worthwhileness and gratitude and positive contentment in the little things, then your every day is not gonna just feel like cloudy skies. And when you're in a relationship day in and day out, we talking bills, we talking kids, we talking about a commute, we talking about errands, right? It can just feel just like right?
This ain't fun,
right? But when we can
find for fun, I understand.
When we can find the balance and try to make as much as we can fun in that, when we can find those small moments, that contentment can be overwhelming and worthwhile. So I just
overwhelming contentment.
You know,
it's a little bittersweet. Oh. I mean, you can be overwhelmed with contentment. You also. It's a balance.
It's a balance.
Okay? That's all I am saying. It is a balance.
It is a balance.
You don't want to be content. Somebody like, you don't want a little bit more? No, I'm good.
I'm good.
Oh, okay.
All right. All right. You good with this? I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. I just like it like that.
Just like that.
That's
just
fine
for
too.
20
as
years?
long as you be okay with it.
Yeah. Both.
You said,
it's okay.
Yeah. So no, but seriously, there's a peace.
There's a peace.
In the overwhelming contentment that like you can find by finding gratitude.
Yeah. That's
I like it.
I like that.
I have 18 songs running.
She's got 17 at least right now. And I know 2 of them. I'm going to tell y'all after this one.
Little things. It's the little things. I love that song.
That's a good one.
India.Arie.
Yep.
Listen, if you want some peace, go back to
India.Arie.
old.
Take a bubble bath and put us some India.Arie.
You feeling... You don't even know what you believe in. You just be like, am I God?
We got to get her on the podcast. We got to get out of here. We appreciate y'all, man, rocking with us. Hopefully, again, as always, you found some value out of this episode. I know we definitely did. Check us out on Instagram, okay? Sum it up. Sumners.
Yeah,
all
go
right?
to 1,000.
Sum it up. We're almost at 1,000. That's true.
That's. I mean, how many more? Like, what's the number?
The numbers aren't important. We're almost at 1,000.
There, so y'all help us get there. If you don't follow us on IG.
That's where most of the engagement goes down. That's where most of the fun's going down.
Y'all know we've been figuring out all this over the past year. So thanks for trying, playing, all that.
Follow us this week. We've got a special announcement if you're listening to this week here.
To be really honest, I don't know what it is.
She does. She forgot. And I'm content. All right. Damon, Katoya. We'll see y'all soon.